Today we're going to review simplifying radical expressions, and then we're also going to talk about how to expand and simplify exponents. Remember, when we talk about simplifying radical expressions, we are looking for our factors. So remember, you can use menu 2, 3 in the calculator to get those factors. So when we do that with 2,400, we get 2 to the 5th times 3 times 5 squared. So remember, this is a square root. So if we expand it, we have 2 5 times. We have 1 3, and we have 2 5s. Remember, the invisible root index is 2. So we're looking for pairs. Pairs go outside, and remember, we only write them one time outside, and the rest singles stay inside. And then we are always multiplying. 2 times 2 is 4, times 5 is 20. 2 times 3 is 6, so 20 on the square root of 6. If we put in menu 2, 3, and we do 69, 12, we get 2 to the 8th times 3 to the 3rd. So I'm going to write 2 8 times, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 3 3s. Now this has a root index of 3, so we're not looking for pairs, we're looking for groups of 3. And remember, our groups always go outside one time. So even though there's 3 of them, they're only going outside once, and our singles stay in. 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. Now I do have to put this little bitty 3, that is my root index, and 2 times 2 is 4. On this next one, it looks a little bit different. We're still looking at exponents. So we have 3 to the 5th, which is, when we expand it out, just like we did before, 5 3s. And then on the bottom, we have 3 squared, which is 2 3s, and 3 to the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and then on your paper, there's an additional 3 squared here. So I'm going to actually put that on the end. It didn't print on mine for some reason. So I want you to realize that when we take 3 divided by 3, it is actually 1. So this becomes a 1, this becomes a 1, this becomes a 1, a 1, a 1, and a 1. So I end up with 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 3. Well, anything times 1 is just itself. So really this is just 3. So this is what we're going to be looking at today, is taking those exponents and writing them out and simplifying them to see what we get. They do give you the answer on these when we look at it, and we just need to make sure with our calculator that we get that. I'm actually going to start with this middle one. 3 times 5 to the 4th squared. So if it's squared, remember that means we need to write this whole thing in the parentheses twice. So I end up with 3 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. That's my first one. And then I need to write it a second time. So 3 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And I can see here, simplified with exponents. So I have 2 3s, so I'm going to write 3 squared. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 5s. So times 5 to the 8. And if we put that in our calculator, we will get 3,515,625. let's look down here at this third one, and then I'll go back to the top because that one is kind of funky. So I just have one of these. Okay, so I'm going to write my big division line. This one is kind of like that very first one we did after the bell ringer. And I have 10 to the 6th. So I'm going to say this whole thing times 10, and I need to write that 10 6 times. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then on the bottom I have my 1.2. And now I have 2 10s. So those cancel and become the ones. If I put 4.8 divided by 1.2 in my calculator, I get just 4. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 tenths. So I could say times 10 to the 4th, which if we put in our calculator is 40,000. So let's look at this a little one that's a little bit more complicated. You just have to take it in steps. So I have 4 to the 5th. So I'm going to write that 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Times 2 more 4s. 1, 2. I'm not going to worry about this divide just yet. Over 5 to the 4th. So I have 5, 5, 5, 5. Now, way back in 6th grade when you learned about dividing fractions, you learned about keep, change, flip. So we're keeping this first fraction, changing our divide to a multiply, and we're going to flip our second fraction. So my second fraction now looks like 5 to the 3rd over 4. So 5 to the 3rd on the numerator is 3 5s and a 4 on the bottom. So remember what we talked about. If you have the same thing on the top and the bottom, it simplifies to be a 1. So I can cross out those 4s. It would be a 1. I can cross out these 5s, bottom, top. And what do we have left? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 4s. So 4 to the 6th. Over on my denominator, I only have a 5 left. And I promise you, if you put 4 to the 6th over 5 in your calculator, you will get 819.2. So on your practice, focus on writing everything out so you can see what's happening and crossing things out so you can eliminate them and then write what is left. Have a great day.